It's 1980 in the isolated countryside of Texas, USA. Joe Good and John Bad are driving through the back roads when they see something really odd. What's not right here? These guys always seem to end up in the creepiest places. Never a calm day at the office. It's these graves. They're empty, but there are fresh flowers on the tombstones. Normally, people put flowers on graves just after a person has been buried, not before. Why would there be fresh flowers for empty graves? John and Joe quickly figure out that these graves have been robbed, and somebody has dug up the dead. They look for the cemetery caretaker for more information, but all they find is a note on the door. Joe and John go to the market and find the caretaker, Mary. She's reluctant to talk. People in this town don't take kindly to outsiders or cops, and especially outsider cops.
Yep, 3 graves were dug up. Kids these days. Why didn't I call the police, you ask? I have enough on my plate without cops poking around. And the dead ain't getting any deader.
Joe and John head back to the graves to investigate. And lo and behold, they find a clue. A butcher's knife with a store logo on it. They hastily jump in the car and head to the town butcher. The lights are off, but the door is open. The detectives enter the shop and find a note on the counter that says, "I'm at the flea market. Be back this afternoon." No need for locks in this small town. Joe Good and John Bad are immediately hit with a strange smell. The detectives follow a trail of muddy footprints leading to a back room. They open the door and everything seems normal, but the strange odor intensifies. They pull back a curtain and the detectives are stunned and realize that these are the missing bodies from the cemetery. But something between Mary's description of the graves and these bodies doesn't seem to match up. What do the detectives notice that doesn't match up? Human body parts in the butcher shop? What's happening here, Little Shop of Horrors? This completely ruins Southern cuisine for me. I will never look at barbecue the same way again. This is a tragic day. Mary said there were only 3 dug-up graves, meaning 3 bodies. But here, there are 9 legs. 3 bodies would mean only 6 legs. Just then, the butcher comes back from the market. Bad timing for him. The detectives call backup and CSI to book the butcher, and then go back to the cemetery to interrogate Mary again.
What? The money? Frankly, it's none of your business. But if you must know, my husband Lee makes one-of-a-kind design furniture and sells the pieces at the flea market. Pays the bills.
The cops ask Mary about the incoherence between the number of dug-up graves and the body parts at the butcher shop.
I don't have to tell you pigs a darn thing.
The detectives decide to bring her into the station for questioning. But first, John treats himself and splurges on one of Lee's artisanal lamps. They're on their way out when they receive a call from the morgue. Good, bad? There's something really weird about the body parts found in the butcher shop. The limbs are old and decomposing, but the tattoos were done post-mortem. The tattoos are new. The detectives are confounded. Why would someone tattoo a body after it's dead? Luckily for them, in this tiny town, there's only one tattoo shop. They head over to look for answers.
I had nothing to do with this creepy story. Must have been my partner. He disappeared a week ago with no explanation. He really left me high and dry. That's your suspect. Here's a picture of him for your investigation.
The detectives look at the photo and know immediately that Ledger is the real suspect. How did they know? These are some seriously dedicated detectives. If I ended up in a town with a giant cemetery as its main attraction, with a butcher shop and a tattoo parlor as the only other stores, I'd get the heck out of there. My sense of moral duty stops way earlier. In the photo that Ledger gave the detectives, the missing partner has the same tattoo on his back as the ones on the dismembered body parts. He couldn't have tattooed that exact symbol on his own back. And there are only 2 tattoo artists in this tiny town. The only other person who could have done it must be Ledger. The detectives have all 3 suspects behind bars. But what is the connection between the 3? Why did Mary lie about the graves? Why did Mark the butcher have all those body parts in his shop? And why does Ledger's tattoo design appear on the dismembered body parts? The cops have a horrifying hunch. Do you know what these suspects were up to? Personally, I'm stumped. Do you have any ideas? Think carefully. It seems like everything is related here. The unique symbols were present at every suspect's location. The 3 were working together. But there is actually one suspect missing. Mary's husband Lee, the designer. Mary provides bodies from Mark the butcher to cut up, reshape, and skin. Mark then passes along the sculpted and skinned bodies to Ledger, the tattoo artist, to create original motifs and patterns. And then Ledger gave the bodies to Mary's husband, the designer, to turn them into lamps, boxes, belts, coats, and what have you, that he sold at the local market. The designs were so beautiful and original that no one questioned what made them so unique: human bone and flesh. This story was inspired by true events. Do you know which killer used dead bodies to create furniture and other objects? Give your best guess in the comments. Tune in next time for another episode of Premeditated, a Riddle Me This production. And make sure to click the red button and subscribe to our Riddle Me This channel.